signs in the sun, moon, and stars. Today we're taking a MAZZAROTH journey through the stars, focusing on two great signs that are about to occur. Let's take a look. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Venus. So what we want to do is take a look at the location of Venus on July the 4th. This would be 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to scroll back a little bit with Venus as our focus. You can see where Venus is located, July the 4th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Now let's go take a closer look, and we'll be able to see what's going on. Venus has just crossed this line. Now we are entering into the triangle here in Taurus. This all lines up with the Pleiades, the Hyades, Aldebaran. Like we talked about in earlier videos, this is like a highway. And it crosses over the ecliptic, where all of the planets and the sun and the moon traverse. This area here is always going to be a sign for us when there is something in this house. When we find Venus in the house, especially when it's lining up with this area here that goes to the Pleiades, then we are experiencing the scripture where it talks about him, our master, having the 7 stars in his right hand. So let's look a little closer, and we see Venus is just crossing the line back into what you could consider a tabernacle. These stellar configurations that are triangles are always considered like a tabernacle. Even the enemy knows this and uses this in his duplication efforts to masquerade the energy potential, thus turning it into evil. Yet all along it was our Father who created these special areas or special configurations. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go and take a look at another great sign that happens on the same day. So we're going to go over here to the moon, and we're going to focus on the moon. And what we want to look at is the area where the moon is sitting. We also want to see that at this time, we'll click out. We're going to click back in to make sure that you can see that the moon is 100% full. Over here on the left hand side, 100%. And you're looking at the phase. So, for those of you who study MAZZAROTH and the signs, especially those of us who were following Kurt Jurgens last fall through winter, you'll know what I am showing you here. Let's dig deeper. The first thing we want to see is that this area here is the Golden Gate. This is the Golden Gate in the heavens. And it also is, as Brother Kurt showed us, the cloud that our Master is sitting on. The golden, the white, and the gold. And if you look closely, that white and that gold is right here in this area. And if you pull up Stellarium for December the 25th, 2019, at 10 p.m. Pacific time, what you're going to find is that the moon and the sun aligned directly in the arc or the bow. This is like a boat. You look at the shape here. This is like a boat. And it's sailing on the Golden River. If you look at the boat's edge, it's right on the edge of the Golden Gate. This is like a great river in the sky, a golden river. And this boat sails on the Golden River. It's a sign for us. And there are alignments that happen in this zone in Sagittarius that are signs for us. What happens is we are looking for these signs as they culminate from Libra through Scorpius into Ophiuchus, culminating with our signs here in the Golden Gate. This is our area of the Golden Gate. So last December the 25th, the configuration was the moon. Let's scroll in a little closer so I can show you what happened last December the 25th. The moon and the sun conjoined here in this zone from my perspective here on the Pacific coast, depending on where you were in the planet looking at this view of Stellarium, you will have a different position. This is from my view here on the Pacific coast. The alignment of the moon and the sun happened directly inside of the arc or the bow of Sagittarius. At the same time, exactly in this same spot where the moon is where the planet Jupiter, the king planet, was. As if Jupiter was the captain of the boat, directly on top of the boat, driving the boat, the captain, Jupiter, while the moon, the bride, and the sun, the bridegroom, were in the ark. The moon represents the bride. Now we are seeing the moon come back into this area and line up in an area that makes me think of harvest. During the eclipse of last year, I was looking for the harvest at that time from the zone of the moon coming across the leg of Ophiuchus into the bow of Sagittarius. This is the Golden Gate. And I believe that harvest can only happen 2 times yearly, and that is at the gates. There must be a portal opening for there to be a harvest, and nothing happens outside of the order, and all things are like a clock. They have to fit into place at the exact time, and that time has already been established, and we're just waiting for the clock to have its time fulfilled. So this is a great watch period. We may be continuing to look further, but this sign of the moon lining up in the exact spot where Jupiter, the king, for those of you who don't know about the Star of Bethlehem, the wise men were following the planet Jupiter. The Star of Bethlehem is the planet Jupiter, the king planet. The king planet was shown in the alignments with Spica, with Regulus, with multiple alignments within the MAZZAROTH to lead the wise men to the location of Christ when he was approximately 1.5 years old. And all of these signs are what led the wise men to the birth or to the location of Christ. And they were able to use the signs to decipher the scripture. And what we are doing now is we're looking for the escape of the bride, and we are using the moon as our focus because the moon is a representation of the bride. We're also looking at Venus. Venus is a representation of the bright and morning star, and Venus lining up in certain areas along with the moon create a storyline. And the story that I'm seeing here is that of a harvest. This is like an ark, and if you know about the story of Enoch, the Enoch was taken before the flood, and there is a great flood coming, and you don't want to be here during the flood. So you want to be a bride, looking for the return of our Messiah, Yeshua. So daily I seek for the signs in the sun, moon, and stars for my Master's coming. I hope you will too. Thanks for coming.